Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. Glad you could join us tonight. We got with us State Representative Chad McCoy here. And Chad, first of all, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. You survived your first session in Frankfort.
Survived and had a great time, honestly.
So you're going to go back?
I hope, yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I've had it, I like it.
So no, I'm going back for sure.
So had a great time. And I guess the question is, you enjoyed it, you did some things you wanted to do, like to do, but what did we accomplish?
You know what, we accomplished a lot. So you know, the legislature as a whole, one of the busiest sessions they've ever had, especially for the short session.
Right.
It's hard to say, short session. Not only in the number of bills that were introduced, but actually the number that we got through. We're starting, you know, we are, first part of May, we're starting to see record impact already to the Kentucky economy. Saw a statistic yesterday, 53 million investment in new investment, largest amount we've ever had. So I think you're seeing some of those programs have some impact. But you know, more importantly here for me, as a freshman legislator, I actually got to pass bills, which is a rare thing to do, and got a real good one passed for Nelson County. That was House Bill 100, and House Bill 100 is a bill for our bourbon industry. You know, one of the things that's happened, Kenny, is if you go to Chicago or DC, there are these bars there that focus on bourbon, and they are able to do old flights. So let's say you go in, and I'll just pick one. You wanted to taste Blanton's 10 years for the last 30 years. You know, every 10 years for 30 years worth. Well, we've not had the ability to do that in Kentucky because under our three-tier system, you can't get those bottles. But you know as well as I do, a lot of folks here in Nelson County probably got some in their basement somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah, so what we passed was a law.
Are they illegal? I mean, was it illegal for them to have them in their basement?
No, of course not.
But it's illegal to buy it in Kentucky.
It was illegal to sell it and illegal to buy it. So we've changed that. So now, if there is a spirit, a vintage spirit, that's not otherwise available through a distributor, then following some regs that the ABC has promulgated, a bar or a restaurant, so they're licensed to be a seller, is going to be able to now go and buy those. And so what you're going to see is vintage bourbon bars here in the bourbon capital. And it's crazy what a huge tourism impact that's going to have, because these folks are having, they show up here and they think, oh, well, we're going to be able to sample X, Y, and Z, and they're not able to. Now they're going to be able to.
I'm sure there's some interesting history as to why it wasn't that way before, but
well, it's that old three-tier system that, kind of gums things up.
Yeah.
In addition, the House Bill 100 also clarified. We were kind of having a problem with distilleries that weren't in Kentucky making their whiskey, bringing it to Kentucky for a month, 6 months, whatever, and then slapping our Kentucky state label on it and calling it a Kentucky bourbon, which is a valuable label.
Right.
So now what we've made clear is if you're going to say Kentucky bourbon, by golly, it's got to be brewed here, fermented, distilled here, fermented here, bottled here, the whole thing.
Right.
And so that's going to be a big help to our industries, which is very important here. We also kind of did some parity with the other alcohols. Sometimes beer gets one treatment, wine gets another, and distilled spirits gets a third. We're making it the same. Alcohol is alcohol. And so what we did is we also in that bill allowed distillers to be able to sell by the drink at fairs and festivals. They could always do it before, but they had to go jump through a bunch of regulations and get a new license and all this stuff. Now it's just part of what they can do, just like the other guys. So I was very proud of that one. That's a big one. I think we're going to see, in fact, there's a distillery not far from here where we're filming right now that's got a vintage bourbon bar getting ready to open up. So I think we're going to see the impact of that right away.
Okay, well, that's great. But you went into this back in January with an idea of what you wanted to get done as a state representative, not only for Nelson County, but also for the state of Kentucky. Do you feel like you've done that, or did your perception of what the state legislature, or perception of what it is you could do, did that change any, positive, negative, or when you come out of it, are you a different person than you were when you went in January?
Sure. Every experience is going to make you a different person. But I'll tell you this, I think I'm going to be able to have more of an impact than I really thought.
Really?
Being in the majority, that is a very helpful thing. I'm already vice chairman of one of the committees, licensing and occupation, so I've got some credibility, some clout, some ability to do something. And so, one of the things that's very important to me is trying to expand some of these robotics. I mean, we've just got so many factories around us, Kenny, that have robots, and we don't have enough robotics programs at our high school levels, at our local community colleges, and everybody's on board. We're getting ready to roll something out that I'm working with everybody here in town on to really up that, because there's an opportunity here to have a lot of really good, blue-collar jobs working on robots. You don't have to be the guy programming the thing, but somebody needs to know how to fix these things. And the jobs that are here already are not being filled, and hopefully this is something I'm going to be able to have an impact in. And what I really want to do is see if we then can't spin that into developing a little bit of a cottage industry here and bring some of our talent back. We lose a lot of kids. They run off to Silicon Valley. Well, we're the Napa Valley of the bourbon world. Why don't they stay home? Yeah. So let's work on some infrastructure projects to see if we can't get, the Google Fiber, the high-speed stuff here as we're developing those robotics programs, and maybe make us a real showplace for Kentucky on that front.
Well, you saw Frankfort from the inside, and a lot of people see Frankfort as a story. It gets a bad rap to a large degree. But you saw Frankfort from the inside, how the sausage is made, and I guess is it. So you feel pretty comfortable that things are happening as you're working together? I mean, are people just constantly working against each other? How's the political scene? How's the partisanship? Things like that. What all went on?
I'll tell you this, first and foremost, everybody up there is there with a good heart, which is encouraging. Right. You may be frustrated on the outside looking in saying, pulling your hair out, why can't they do something? But everybody is really there trying to do the right thing, trying to represent their folks back home. And sure, there's partisan politics, but you know what? Candidly, even within the parties, there's politics.
Everybody disagrees.
That's right. So I felt like folks really worked together. Speaker Hoover did a nice job, I thought, of having the Democrats get some of their bills through that are good bills, regardless of who gets credit for it and that kind of stuff. So I hope it's a new page in Frankfort. I hope a lot of that partisanship is going to be disappearing, and we can just keep working for a better Kentucky.
Okay, well, you mentioned the economy a few minutes ago, possibly the things looking a little better. Money-wise, where are we at money-wise? I know the gas tax for a while was a big issue. So are they saying, well, we don't have enough money in the road fund to fix the highways and the bridges and the infrastructure, and that's a little outside the legislative realm in a way, but still at the same time, where are we money-wise? We're not flush with money, but are we hurting?
Well, so first and foremost, let me tell you this. I'm not sure I know. And the reason is we haven't addressed any budgetary issues yet that I've been involved in.
That'll be in the long session.
That's in the long session, and that's coming up next.
Oh, I did this last interview. I lost my mic.
Lost your mic?
I'm moving my arms too much.
That's all right. So I don't have any more knowledge necessary than you do. And what I'm seeing in the news, obviously, is the road fund has been depleted, so we don't have as much for that. I understand we had a revenue shortfall is what I saw. But now, what we're hearing is the governor wants to do a special session, wants to address tax reform, which is obviously going to impact state revenue. Other than that, I have no knowledge on it. He's not told us when.
Let's talk tax reform a little bit. I mean, is that the average person? Are we going to see an increase in taxes? Or are we going to see more of a spread across the board in taxes? What is he proposing, or do we even know yet?
We don't even know yet. What I'm hearing, same thing you're hearing, is a move from a strictly income-based to probably a mix of income and consumption-based. I think you'll probably see taxes on services, like lawyers, that kind of thing. Right. Which, who's that going to impact the most? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. And I think that's going to be where the sausage gets made in that one.
Well, Medicaid obviously is a big issue that I know that you probably dug into. Nobody come up with a lot of solid answers, but are we making any movement to improve on that?
Well, I think we're being hung up a little bit by the federals. Yeah. We don't really know what's happening, if anything, at that level, which is obviously going to impact what we do here. So that's still a looming issue, obviously something we've got to deal with. We still have the pension crisis, and Kenny, the pension issue is worse than we thought, and seems to be getting worse, not better. So I think what, I'm hoping at least is that this fall, when we come together for a special session, you're going to see some nice plans kind of float to the top that are going to address these issues together, because they've got to be
What's
addressed.
going to drive this special session? Now, I know tax reform obviously is trying to be more equitable in a way, but at the same time, or is it like I said, pension reform, things like that, looking at where the crises are as to how much money you're going to need? I mean, is it a need base, or is it basically going to be a more equitable base? I guess I'm trying to get around what exactly the special session is going to look like.
And I think first and foremost, I think what's driving it is business expansion. Yeah. When businesses are looking as to where they're going to go, you've got Indiana to our north that has a 3% income tax rate, Tennessee to the south, which has no income tax rate.
Yeah.
So when they're thinking about their employees, where are employees going to have a better life, right now, either of those states looks better than Kentucky. So I think that's what's driving us to do it. Now, what are we going to do when we do it? I think you're going to see a broadening of the tax base, which I think will be an equality thing. But you heard the governor during his State of the Commonwealth address. He said it's not going to be revenue neutral. That means a tax increase.
Yeah, he didn't get a good response to that.
Right, and he hasn't said what or anything. But I suspect we've got to back up and first make sure we cover the crisis.
Yeah.
So, but a part of that's going to be, how do we handle the pension? Because it's not just throw more money at it, So again, I wish I had better answers for you. It's sitting right here, the 1st of May. Don't really.
Well, you're looking at, again, you're looking at the income tax, sales tax. You're looking at and your right to work. I mean, obviously there was a change in that this year, in hopes that it would attract more industry.
And clearly it has. You see the massive expansion in Greenup County last week. That's what they said with their thing. So that we were able to be on the list because we had that check mark.
Okay, well, like I said, it sounded to me like you had a pretty busy time, and it's not really over. I mean, I know it's over as far as the session goes, but still, you're still a state representative today,
That's right.
Even though you're not in Frankfort.
In fact, I had 4 or 5 meetings today with folks here in town on state rep stuff. Pretty much every day I have contact with somebody with an issue and try to get them some help, and we start back into our committee meetings. So literally here in a couple of weeks, we'll be going back to Frankfort just about 1 day a week for some committee or another, and I'm on 4 committees, so that's going to keep me hopping.
Yeah, keep you hopping, exactly. Yeah. But it's so just for my own information, what are you getting calls on? What's the most you're getting calls on? Is it personal issues, road issues, school issues?
No, you know what? It's literally a whole hodgepodge of personal issues.
Really?
Somebody will have in kind of a business personal. Hey, in my industry, I'm running into this.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting multiple calls from the same industry, and then the next day it'll be somebody else who's got an issue. We always have some road issues coming up. We did just get $75,000 allocated for Nelson County to do a little maintenance on roads, so hopefully we're going to keep that kind of money coming in.
So your role right now is basically try to keep the people in Frankfort knowing we're here, and making sure we're getting our fair share.
Absolutely, and helping anybody I can along the way.
All right, well, we appreciate you being here. I know you're busy. We're going to come out and visit you grapes sometime.
That'd be great.
Talk off the air.
Love to have you.
You got a good grape farm going right now.
Yes,
Hopefully
sir.
have a good winery going sometime.
Exactly, that's the plan.
All right, well, we're looking forward to that. Chad McCoy here, State Representative of the 5th District, and just finished up their first session, the short session in Frankfort, and a lot more going on throughout the year. If you want to get a hold of him, give him a call, because I know he's always looking forward to hearing from all his constituents. So give him a call and find out what's going on with in Frankfort. And if you have a problem, here's the man you need to call. Chad, thank you for being here. Appreciate you doing this. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back in just a moment or so with more Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV.